Picture, if you can, the flattest place on earth. Central Arkansas, population 2,550 people. I grew up the son of a farmhand, but that's never who I was.
You graduated on a Friday, and Monday morning you were enlisting as a Marine. What made you decide that?
It was how I was going to get out. The entire point of Marine Corps boot camp is to break you. You can't build something until you've gotten to the foundation. And third phase of boot camp, I am ready to graduate. We were working spit and polish, and I finally break. Even your dad knew you weren't good enough. Even your mom left when you were a kid. Really? Once I let all of that go, I'm free to go, and I can be and I can do anything. And when you have nothing to lose, you are dangerous. And I think anyone with any level of success has that. I can tell you the moment that I hit a rock bottom.
Do you mind sharing that moment, that defining moment?
Sure. So there were several things that led up to this night.
My next guest grew up with nothing. He grew up in the middle of nowhere, Arkansas, in a broken home. Immediately after graduating high school, he joined the Marine Corps, where he served 8 years, only to wind up in construction after he got out. However, what he learned there would change his life forever and make him millions. And stick around to the end of the episode because it's not what you think. Nate Roberts.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, Dear Founder.
Mario, thank you for having me, man. I'm excited.
Thanks for being here. And as always, I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Lexi.
Lexi, nice to meet you today.
Nice to meet you.
Ditto.
And we start the show with a gift because you took your time away from your night, from spending with your lovely wife, Mindy. And you could be doing anything right now, but you came on the show. And so we appreciate that. And we know that every business owner, every founder runs on something. My hope is that you run on coffee. That's our hope. So I don't know. It could be a hit or miss, but all I know is that it's quality, and we just want to say thank you guys for coming on.
And I appreciate that, definitely. This will last maybe 2 days. So absolutely.
Fantastic.
That's incredible. Thank you.
Of course.
No, I appreciate it.
Of course. Well, we've chatted a lot, and so for the sake of our time, I'm going to skip the pleasantries, okay?
Let's do it.
And from what I know about you now, you're okay with that.
Yeah.
So let's go back a little bit. We're going to talk pre-business.
Okay.
So it's a Friday night, and maybe you already know where I'm going with this.
Okay.
It's a Friday night. You've got some whiskey in your hand. Okay. And
oh yeah.
You're with your son, and you're typing up a resignation email. Okay. You've got not necessarily a plan, not necessarily, everything figured out, but you're writing it out because you've got to make a change because you've mentioned and you've coined, you just can't do it with the golden handcuffs anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So take me back to that night.
So there were several things that led up to this night. And when I tell the story, it was a Friday night. It could have been a Thursday. It could have been a Monday. But my business partner, Chance, and I were sitting there and we were talking about it. And Chance was a high-level college athlete who COVID hit. He decided he was done playing baseball. And I knew his entire life when he was done with baseball, he was done with college. So he had come home, tried a couple of different things, but ended up selling cars, performance vehicles primarily, but trucks, whatever, at our local dealership that we'd done business with for years. And he was bored out of his mind. And I was working for another company, quite literally with golden handcuffs. I was making money and I have to support my family and I have to do all the things, but I'm beating my head against the wall because the owner's telling me we're going to do this and we're going to do this and we're going to do this. And what I'm actually getting is nothing. So, back in those days, I did drink, sometimes to excess, but I drank and I enjoyed a good glass of whiskey.
Hey, man, a taste.
And we were having a glass of whiskey and he says, look, let's just go do this ourselves. And some other things that happened with him in that industry, and he realized that that industry was not going to be for him long term. So we did. I sent a resignation email telling them, I joke about it, I gave him my 2-week notice. In 2 weeks, you're going to notice I haven't been here for 2 weeks. But it was the best decision that I ever made. Mindy, much to her chagrin, is kind of used to those things from me, because when I'm done, I'm done. And when I'm ready to start something new, it's time to start something new. And fast forward to where we are today, this is my most successful entrepreneurial venture. But I have my entire life learned from each step. And I've learned more about myself. I've learned more about the people around me. I've learned more about how to do things. And it doesn't always take a degree. I mean, my degree's in computer science. I've never worked a day in the field. My counselor told me, hey, if you take these 2 classes, you can get a piece of paper, while I was still in the Marine Corps. And boom, I've never used it. Chance went to college as a freshman, and he's one of the most successful, as he'll put it, college quitters out there. And, so a few glasses of whiskey and a resignation, and what's now Practical Metals and Practical Building Systems was born. Mm-hmm.
So Saturday morning, because I think when we make decisions, I know I've felt a certain way where I make a decision and the next day I'm like, oh, crap, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Did you have more concern Saturday morning after making that decision, or did you have more clarity?
More drive. It was clear. The decision was already made. And once a decision for me is made, then it's made, and burn the boats.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
Burn and turn.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there was no question. The decision had already been made. Chances are on that next morning, I was probably up early and working out and just planning everything, how it moves forward.
I wonder how wives are always taking that, seeing us like make these decisions and just,
Couldn't relate. I don't know.
Well, there's always someone that is the crazy one of the relationship that's like doing the things, and the spouse is like, what the hell are they doing now? Like, so I'm going to give Mindy credit because I don't know too much about Mindy's story, but I want to ask, what was her response? And now you have to tell the truth because she's right here.
Full disclosure, I don't remember any response because
let's pull the third chair for Mindy real quick.
I didn't. It didn't matter. The decision was made, and as horrible as that sounds, I knew that was the best path forward, not only for me but for us. As a family, and it's not that I don't care, I don't value her thoughts, decisions, how she feels about things. The way I'm wired, once it's time to go, it's time to go. And at that point, especially, she'd been listening to me complain for months and be miserable for months. And months in my brain, like we discussed earlier, for us, long-term is 90 days. And, if I'm complaining about something for months, I'm not a complainer. So if I am, or I'm to that point, she knew that I was done. It was, and if I'm to speculate, I would probably say it lasted longer than she anticipated where I was. So it's been 20, going on 27 years of her seeing me do this. And if anything, she probably hoped that this was, the one that was an utter success. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Y'all have a sixth sense about things when it comes to men. And so she probably knew, like, okay, I'm going to let him make this one because it's probably what he needs. It's probably the right
intuition.
thing. Yeah. So let's go back before the business, before that night. Let's go even further back before the Marines.
Okay.
You have a lot of cool characteristics about you, cool mindsets that I want to know, where did they come from? So where's Nate from? Where did he grow up? And where do you think this drive and these characteristics about you came from?
So, picture, if you can, the flattest place on earth. Central Arkansas, a little town called England, Arkansas. Population in 1992, when I graduated high school, population 2,550 people. In 2026, population 2,500 people. It's a great place to be from. Small farm community. And I grew up the son of a farmhand. So I spent my summers working on the farm. I spent, after school and weekends working on the farm. But to use Mindy's phrase, that's never who I was. And even 20 years later, 20 years after I got out of the Marine Corps, and we were, where we are, I would still fall back to this, I'm just a poor kid from Arkansas. When in reality, even when I was a poor kid in Arkansas, I wasn't a poor kid in Arkansas. I was going to get out of that situation. And I mean, I grew up, broken family. We talk about it regularly. At 4 years old, I watched my mom take what I believed, what I understood to be my sister, and walk away. Come to find out she was my half sister, not my father's daughter, which I didn't know for, I was 45, maybe 40 years old when I found this out. Wow. But it was what it was. And those were things that just added up to make me who I am now. Nature, nurture. Because of my autism, was it a protective layer that helped me get through those things? Or was it something that was exacerbated because of those things? To be honest with you, doesn't matter. It helped me get through those things. It helped me become who I am, unbeknownst to me, because I didn't know this until a year ago. It was ADHD. And some of the things you'll find out, guys that look and act like me are the most underdiagnosed in the world, because we do well in school. We get along, we go along to get along. We don't get in trouble. If we do get in trouble, it's not major trouble. So we kind of slip through the cracks, and they write it off as ADHD, or he's just hyper, he's just bored, whatever it is. But then find out for me that I've got this superpower that I've kind of tapped into a little bit, but now I'm ready to really tap into it.
So up until that point, let's say high school, mm-hmm. Did you know that you had autism up until, let's say, high school, or were you just assuming like I know something's different, I just can't put my finger on it?
I'm a kid. I mean, I'm just trying to get through high school. So the first time that I really recognized, I always did well in school. I mean, I was exhausted because I worked all night or all day, and so I'd sleep through math class, and I'd score well on tests and do all of that. But I didn't realize until I took the SAT and then got called down to the counselor's office to, I scored one of the highest SAT scores at the school, which was great. I don't care. I'm indifferent. But I realized that I was different from everyone else around me, but I didn't know. I had no idea. I mean, go to a doctor, somebody who can diagnose something like that. I never saw a dentist until I joined the Marine Corps. So I certainly wasn't going to a doctor because, I'm sleeping through class, but I'm doing well in class. Who cares? I'm getting A's, B's, whatever it takes to get through school. Nobody cares. So for me, it was just go do the job, go do the thing, move to the next level, graduate, grow. Yeah. I never knew until a year ago when, and I guess it's still an unofficial diagnosis, but like we were talking about earlier, I recommend for everybody, find a counselor, find a therapist. I don't care how great of a life you've had. You got things to walk through and talk through. Sure. Learn more about yourself, and a good therapist or counselor can really help you dig in and find those things, those superpowers, those, how do I take what has been given to me and use it for whatever I want to do with it. Yeah. So to answer your question, I had no idea. I mean, I knew I was a little different, but I didn't know to what extent.
Yeah.
So
you graduated on a Friday, and tell me if this is incorrect. You graduated on a Friday, and Monday morning you were enlisting as a Marine, and you started your military career at 18 years old. For someone, was it 18 or tell me, correct me?
17.
17. Okay. Even better. For someone who thinks the way you do and is as calculated and thoughtful as you are, what made you decide that?
Have you ever seen the Marine Corps recruiting posters?
Yeah. Eric, I think, is trying to recruit me to the military because he sends me stuff. And,
especially in the early 90s. I mean, no. For me, first of all, it was a means to an end. I went into the delayed entry program 9 months before I graduated. So right at the beginning of my senior year, maybe a month into my senior year. It was how I was going to get out. It was how I was going to escape and evade everything. So graduated late May, early June. No, graduated, so it was the last day of May, first day of June. June 3rd, I was in boot camp. So the week before I graduated, my recruiter calls me and says, hey, you said you wanted to leave early. I wasn't scheduled to leave until August. Mind you, my 18th birthday is in September. And I was like, yeah, I want to leave early. Well, wait a minute. When? And he goes, no. Do you want to leave early or not? And I said, yeah, I want to leave. And he said, okay, great. You're leaving Sunday night. And I went, wait a minute. I'm graduating on Friday. Okay. So Monday or Tuesday that week, I started selling every possession I owned. May or may not have illegally bought alcohol to spend the weekend. But
if you can serve our country,
yeah,
I'd say you can have a
I spent the weekend with some friends, and Sunday night I flew from Little Rock to San Diego, California, and stood on the yellow footprints Sunday night, Monday morning. So
thanks for your service.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
How long did you serve?
8 years.
8?
8 years.
Okay. Nice. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
In the Marines the entire time?
Yes,
it's wild.
Yeah.
So intense.
I served in a period that wasn't what, post 9/11. So I was post Gulf War, pre 9/11. And I mean, for the most part, pretty uneventful. Served with a lot of good people, learned a lot of great things, got to do, we were talking about it earlier. I got to do pretty much everything on the posters, because I worked for it and I went for it. And, not every Marine gets to jump out of airplanes, and not every Marine gets to go to Navy dive school. And I got to. It was, while intense, it was not what Marines are going through now. It's not what they went through post 9/11. We work with a nonprofit organization that really does a great job of helping and working with a lot of those Marines that were super intense. And in periods where, they did 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 tours, and, that wasn't me. And I'm blessed to be able to help those guys and work with those guys and enjoy those guys because, and girls, I say guys.
Is that still an active organization?
Yeah.
Do you want to name who
yeah,
they are?
it's Big Country Veterans, Codie Palmer and our friend Michael Groman. Michael Groman's the COO. Codie is the president, CEO. And they're an amazing organization. They do absolutely incredible things. They've got 4 programs. I won't go down the list, but look them up. They're amazing. And we're blessed to get to support them day in and day out. Yeah.
Was there anyone growing up that, because I think to most people, I'm gonna break the podcast host rule, okay? Because I think on most podcasts that I see, people cringe whenever you ask people things like, so is there anything about your military career that you translated over to business? How did that help you at all? I don't know about you. I don't know about you, Eric. I see that stuff, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, that's a stupid question. But with you, I find you so interesting. I really want to know because you have a successful and growing business, but you also had, a good 8-year stint in the military. Is there anything that transferred over at all? Or that you could give credit to and say, you know what, because I'm a Marine, I'm better at this?
Leadership is a skill that's built. People will tell you there are born leaders and there are built leaders. I believe that it takes both in the same person. I don't think that any necessarily trained skill that, I was in the infantry. There's a couple of jobs in the civilian world that translates to directly as a skill set. But the ability to work with other people, the ability to look beyond what society says this person is. I went to boot camp in San Diego in '92, and I'm a farm kid from Arkansas in this smorgasbord of black guys, green guys. Italian.
Can't say that. I'm kidding.
Well, but all of this mixing bowl of people that none of us cared. And so society says you're not supposed to be able to do those things, even in the 90s, especially in the 90s. And it gives you the ability to look beyond and learn how to both lead and be led. And in my opinion, the ability to be led and look at somebody and say, hey, this is a great idea. Let's work with it. Let's go with it. It doesn't have to be my idea. And, this is about founders, and I understand that. But behind every founder is a whole list of people that are doing what needs to be done, because I can't do it all. And the ability to both lead and let others lead in their realm. You got a squad leader? What do I need? I need my fire team leader to do his job, and I need him to lead his fire team to take care of his responsibilities. Same thing in business. I've got my operations manager who coordinates the dance, and I've got my production manager. Well, it's his job to coordinate production. He's responsible for it. He's got to make it happen. I can't, as a platoon commander, step in and do the fire team leader's job. I can't, as the CEO, step in and do my production manager's job. If I do, the whole thing shuts down and doesn't operate. In my opinion, are there skill sets that I learned in the Marine Corps? Maybe, but I think they're more things that were just brought out and nurtured, if you will. The ability to lead and be led is something that you'll hear me compare the two, which I catch some flack from military people about it, but high-level athletes and military people. And the ability to perform with a group and with a team are something that those people share. Different worlds, different things, but that skill set is intangible. And if I'm taking one thing away from the Marine Corps, that's what I'm taking away, is that ability to lead and be led.
Sure.
So
yeah, and you're better for it.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I have a question. So we touched a little bit earlier about just emotional detachment at times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, when you went into the Marines, was there any like major emotion that you experienced with that change? I know that you said you were pretty disciplined being a farm kid, but I'm just curious. I know, like you say, you had a certain time period in the Marines that was not as intense, but the Marines is just intense in general to most people. Maybe not yourself, but to most.
So we talk about this regularly, it comes up. The entire point of Marine Corps boot camp is to break you. Mm-hmm. Period. You can't build something until you've broken it to a foundation, until you've gotten to the foundation. And I'll tell you, senior drill instructor, figured out mine. I had a hang up about where I was from and the fact that I came from a broken home and the fact that, I was never supposed to be anything. Well, I'm a 17-year-old kid. Mm-hmm. I am not an adult. My frontal cortex, prefrontal lobe is not developed to understand these things. Mm-hmm. And third phase of boot camp, I am ready to graduate. We were working spit and polish, and I finally break because this drill instructor just pounds on me that, oh, well, even your dad knew you weren't good enough. Even your mom left when you were a kid, really? But they draw you in. I mean, they're taught to do these things and in the best ways. Because once I let all of that go, that was a defining moment for me because it was defining because it no longer defined me. Mm-hmm. So now I'm free to go and I can be and I can do anything. And I think a lot of people are terrified to really go deep, whether it's Marine Corps boot camp or just you're in the gym and you hit that rock bottom and you go, what now? And I think it's a Hormozi quote. You know what? When you got nothing else to work for, you also have nothing else to lose. Mm-hmm. And when you have nothing to lose, you are dangerous. Mm-hmm. And for me, man, when you've got nothing to lose, the sky's the limit because quite literally you can do anything. You just have to go do it.
Do you ever think about, what life would be like had that drill instructor not, mess with you a little bit or hit that soft spot?
Not at all. Because if it hadn't been that, it would have been something else.
So you would have found something.
Yeah. Somebody would have found something. Maybe that week, maybe the next week. Who knows? But would
you think
have
it was
happened.
Necessary.
And I think anyone with any level of success has that. I think they have that point where they go, no more. I'm not going to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get to that point, how do you know that you're tired of it? I mean, people that just exist, I don't comprehend. And there's a lot of them out there. And so be it. If that's what you want for your life, congratulations. Do it. It's never been easier to do nothing and survive. It's also, again, I go back to these guys, Dan Martell, Hormozi. They're all saying very similar things. It's never been easier to be so successful because people are lazy. But if you hit rock bottom, whatever your version of rock bottom is, I can tell you the moment that I hit a rock bottom 2009. And I had a friend of mine. This was another moment in my life that was defining. And we'll come back to it. But
That's okay, yeah.
it's those moments stick with you. Now, for me, are they emotional? No, not necessarily, but they are awakening. And when you awaken the beast, man, it's a great thing. So,
Do you mind sharing that moment, that defining moment?
sure. So 2008, we're contracting. We get an opportunity. Opportunities aren't always opportunities. But we get an opportunity to go do some post-hurricane work, which I had done before. That's a young man's game. Long story short, we end up a lot of money out. We're not getting the money back in. We shut everything down. I take a job. A menial. A friend of mine owned a roofing manufacturer. I went to work for them revamping their customer service because I'm good with people, apparently. And Mindy was working for the county. She had to go to a training, and they had given her an advance on her money to pay for hotel and her per diem. And we had a bill come through, and we were broke. I mean, we would have loved to have been poor at that point, right? We were broke, fighting back, rebuilding. But I was in this depressive state that I'd never experienced before. Woe is me. I don't know how we're going to get out of it. Anyway, we had a bill come through, and this money was no longer there in our bank account. And she's got to check into this hotel and pay for this hotel. And I call a good friend of mine, and he meets me at the Waffle House. And I just told him, I said, man, I need to borrow $500. And he and I have been friends since 98. This is 2009. So we've been friends for more than a decade. And he tells me, we sit down, we have some eggs, we start talking, and he looks me in the face and he says, this is not a loan. I'm giving you this money. And if you don't pull your head out of your ass and figure out who you are, I don't ever want to talk to you again. And I kind of got that look on my face, and I was like, what do you mean? And he says, I've watched you for the last 6 or 8 or 9 months or whatever it is, dwell on this failure as you view it. And he said, and this is not who you are. He said, I know you. I've watched you for a decade. This is not who you are. So you take this $500, I'll buy breakfast, and until you change, or if you decide to change, then you let me know. Other than that, I don't want to talk to you. You are not in my life anymore. And I took the money and I put it in the bank, and it just sank in. And when it sank in, I went back to work. Mindy came home, and I told Mindy, I said, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to do this job anymore. I'm going to talk to the company, and I'm going to go back to sales. And I took a commission. I told him, I want to go sell again. We've revamped this thing. It's everything I can do. I'm going to go sell your product, and I'm going to get back to being who I am. And it was probably 2 weeks later, I called my buddy, and I said, hey, can we go to the Waffle House? And he goes, sure. And he was mad at me, rightfully so. And I sat down and I bought breakfast, and I gave him his $500 back. And I said, you don't ever have to worry about me being that person again. But sometimes you just have to be shaken out of it by someone who cares about you. And care doesn't come with coddling, and care doesn't come with poor me's, and care comes with pull up your bootstraps, get up, go back to work in 20 hours a day, and go fix it.
Honestly, I was going to say that sounds like a good friend to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He cared about your outcome versus how you felt about your circumstance.
Yeah. 100%. And let me tell you, it's better than any any depression curing medication on the market if you've got a friend like that.
That's a good friend. And I feel like you're so blessed to be around the age where there's a lot of friends like that. These days, nobody wants to work hard. Nobody wants to hold anyone accountable. And so finding people like that is very, very rare. Like I have very few people in my life like that. Typically, they're all mentors that have turned into friends and older, wiser, and they mean business. They hold you to it and they know who you are, and they're the best people in my life, you know?
Absolutely. If someone's going to tell you how great you are, they're not a friend. I mean, it's nice to hear those things. It's nice for somebody to tell you, oh man, you're doing so well. Oh, this and all that. What's next? Like, how are you continuing to improve yourself? And for me, those are the people that I want to be surrounded by, people that push me, people that want me to improve and want to improve around me. And I'm blessed. And you and I may get in a disagreement about this. I hear this all the time, and I defend young people that I'm surrounded by because every one of them are there to work. They are there to improve themselves. They are there to grow. And I think there's probably a generational gap between us that you're absolutely right. That generation was, I mean, I don't want to say lost, but now the generation, I'm surrounded by 6 or 8 people that are all under the age of 30, and they are all whatever it takes. And maybe it's just they want to be around me because I'm driving them. Maybe it's I want to be around them because they also push me. And I see this younger generation getting out of this, oh, what's in it for me? What's in it for this? How do I go get it? How do I put in the work and put in the hours? And now I'm seeing a whole lot of a return of that. And that excites me.
Yeah. The cream is rising to the top, if you will.
Oh, yes.
Because, I mean, for everyone, there's like 50 others that won't, right? So there's definitely some of it. I mean, clearly I'm one, you know?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
You're surrounded by some,
Yep.
but it is still kind of rare.
And we are in a gig economy, the side gig economy where, if you want to make it, you have to have some sort of entrepreneurial spirit to be able to think to yourself, there's got to be something outside of my job for me to make some money. And that takes a certain type of person to be able to do. And you can't just be employee minded, trying to make money outside of your job. You have to think outside the box. And so to me, you have to develop different skill sets that, are different than your job. And so then you get surrounded by people who they're almost, they're almost entrepreneurs. They're acting like entrepreneurs within your business, and you like being around those. Like you could see, wow, those are great qualities that if I could just take the time and nurture and build, like those are potential entrepreneurs, those are potential business owners that you get the opportunity to nurture and create a good environment for them, to be able to maybe create something for themselves one day. That's the way I'm seeing it. That's the way.
I think there's this big push and this big movement that everybody's got to be an entrepreneur. Everybody's got to have their own thing. Like we talk about the side hustle. And I've had 1 million side hustles, and I failed at every one of them. If you want to go in on something and you want to do it for yourself, great. That's a lonely, hard road. You know who made more money at Apple than Steve Jobs?
Tell me.
Wozniak. You know why? Because he sat behind the scenes and he let Jobs be Jobs, and he was the number 2, right? And you look at in large corporations, typically the highest paid people are not always, when we're talking about operational companies. Yeah, CEOs make a lot of money. right? But those are companies that are established. When they're up and coming, my business partner and I are two of the lowest paid, have been two of the lowest paid employees in our business. And for us to bring on talent and grow talent, you have to pay that. I've got to have my own thing, and there's nothing wrong with it. But you better be ready for some lonely nights. Mm-hmm. You better be ready for some early mornings. But if you're a part of a team and you burn the boat, and we will talk about this, I would rather someone who's working for me say, Nate, I need to make some more money because of this. And say, what else around here needs to be done within the business that can help me earn more money and help the business earn more money? How much can somebody make driving an Uber for 4 hours a night? I don't know, a few $100, maybe. Once you take fuel out and all of the cost and the maintenance on the vehicle and all of those things, I don't know. But if one of my employees comes to me and says, Nate, I need some overtime because I have expenses, there are things in the business that are of the business and can help the business grow, but people don't ask those things. Being a part and a cog in a good company can be a whole lot better, in my opinion, and I've been on both sides of it. But being a cog in the company that is growing and that is thriving can be beneficial to everyone around you. We talk about it regularly. Unfortunately, we just had to let an employee go who wasn't rowing the boat. And if you're not rowing the boat in the direction that everyone else is, you can't stay. If you're not, my job now is to steer the boat. If I have to row, by all means, I'm going to get out and row too. But my job is to steer the boat. And everyone who has an oar in their hand that is rowing, the more they dive in, the more they learn, the more critical they become to the company, the better off they can be, because not everyone is an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Anxiety in this country in particular, in my opinion, is one of the limiting factors for entrepreneurism. That's a hard word to say.
Entrepreneurism. You said anxiety.
People are terrified. Mm-hmm. People are terrified to take a step. And
were you anxious whenever you felt like you had golden handcuffs on, or when you realized you had on golden handcuffs? Or tell me about that moment.
No, there's no anxiety whatsoever for me. I don't experience anxiety the way other people do. I don't get paralyzed. And if Mindy doesn't mind, I'm going to tell this story. We were living in Hurst, and we had 2 babies at home, and I was working construction, and it was 14-hour days, 16-hour days, whatever it took. And I came home, and Mindy was sitting in the living room with 2 babies, and she was crying. And I don't do emotion well. I do love you. I don't do emotion well. But she looks up at me and she says, it's like I'm in the middle of the ocean and I have no idea which way to swim. But she looks at me and she says, you always know which way to swim. She's crying. I start laughing. Because
okay, you started laughing.
I literally started laughing because this woman that I love, the mother of my children, here on the carpet playing, thinks this of me and I have to tell her, and I sit down with her and I literally have to tell her, I have no idea which way to swim. That's what you don't understand. Like, it may appear that I know which way to swim. I have no clue. I just know I can't stay where I am. So making the decision to move looks like I know what I'm doing. To other people who are on the outside looking in. In my brain, well, I can't stay here. So that direction looks really good until you determine that that's not where you need to be. But I think it goes back to high school. And we sat, I'll never forget, in ninth grade. Chance was going into ninth grade. So the summer before, they have these big meetings and they're like, you have to decide your future for the next 4 years and what path you're going to take. And I'm like, man, he just spent a summer, 8th to ninth grade. And you're trying to ask him to decide what he wants to do in college? He doesn't know what he wants to have for breakfast.
Yeah, no way.
Right.
No way.
And I think by doing that, it puts people on this, well, I have to know now. I have to know now. Guess what? You don't. And I got a lot of flack when our kids were in high school from their friends' parents, because I would tell kids, look, high school, how many times I've heard this, high school is the greatest time of your life. High school is about survival. High school is about getting out and getting to the next level. You're Mario looking for a mushroom. That's it. And these parents would tell their kids that this is the time of your life and you have to have all of these things and all of these memories and all of this. No, you have to get out so you can go start becoming an adult and start figuring out what the rest of your life looks like. So for me, I don't want to say anxiety doesn't exist, but it certainly doesn't paralyze me. I do not have decision fatigue like so many people do, because in my world, it's black and white. It's yes or no. It's go, no go. So if it's the best way to kill a good idea is to send it to a committee.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with that more.
Yeah.
Indecision. So what's your thought process as you're watching Chance kind of go through the same thing? He's maybe spinning his wheels. He's not happy, but he's a winner. He's a performer. He likes competing, right? What's going on in your mind?
Chance does not lose.
Would he say he felt like he was losing during that time?
No, not at all. He was learning. He got a PhD in sales. Listen, one or multiple of these things everyone in this world should do. Everyone should be a server, a waiter, or a waitress. Everyone. You should do something like the military. And I'm not saying everyone should join the military or everyone should be a server, but if you want to learn how to sell and how to deal with people, go to the auto industry. Go deal with people at that level where you have to tell someone comes in with this dream that they want this car, and wait a minute, you have a 500 credit score. And then deal with someone who goes, we can get you financed for 30% interest.
Yeah.
And learn how to navigate that and slowly and quietly tell someone, this is a bad idea. I'm here to sell cars, but you don't need to do this. So to learn people, there are so many things that you can go do, so many industries that you can go. And he got a PhD in sales and learned people. He also learned how to serve people and, to an extent, how to deal with different personalities. Now, fast forward, I mean, he's 25. He'll be 26 in September.
Mm-hmm.
He's running a division of the company that could be as much as $15 million this year because he doesn't lose. He wins or he learns. And he expects the same thing from people around him, just like I do. You're going to make mistakes. I give this speech. I've talked about this on other podcasts. I give this speech to everyone who comes to work for me. You're going to cost me and this company money. 2 things. Try to limit how much it is, and don't do it twice. Other people, the only way you learn is by making mistakes. No. You can learn by being successful. That's the preferred method, in my opinion.
For sure, yeah.
Right.
But mistakes are going to happen. If you dwell on mistakes, more mistakes happen. If you learn to let it go and move on from it, you limit those mistakes.
Well, you must be proud of him.
Extremely. I'm extremely proud of both of my children for who they are and who their mother raised them to be. And they are incredible human beings. We joked, even when they were kids, we weren't raising children, we were raising adults to be productive members of society. Yes, absolutely. I'm proud of both of them.
I think it's interesting that you said that you don't have to learn from mistakes, that you can learn from success, because that is something that I adopted very young. I feel like I would go to successful people and have them tell me, what were the mistakes that you made? Because I feel like if you've made them, I can learn from you making them instead of making them myself and kind of short track my trek to success. And I completely agree with that. And I've not heard many people say that.
A mature person can learn from watching someone else make mistakes. Women do it earlier than men because women mature before men. Men, we like to make our own mistakes. Even at 50 years old, every day, I still like to make my own mistakes. But you're absolutely right in that when the kids were in high school, I had one young man in particular, and he says, my dad's pushing me to go to college. My dad's pushing me to go to college. Well, what do you want to do? Well, I think I want to be an architect. Okay, that's something you need to go to college for. But I told him, I said, what if you did this? How are you going to fund college? Oh, well, I have my parents have the money set aside. They're going to fund my college. I'm like, okay, great. Take a 2-year hiatus and go to as many architectural firms as you possibly can. Meet with the primary or, one of the people who run the place and ask them for a job. Doesn't matter what you make. Doesn't matter how much they pay you. Ask them for a job in the architectural firm. I will come to work here and I will do all of the trash jobs that no one else wants to do. I will do anything if you will spend time and teach me about what you do here. And with anything, if you don't know what you want to do, going to school for that thing that you may or may not want, you may go get a degree, spend 4 years, work on your architectural degree, go take your test, and then find out, I hate architecture. Now, you're 4 years down the road, you've spent $200,000 at a state school, you have a degree, but you hate what you do, and now you've got sunk cost bias because I've spent all this money, now this is what I have to do. Now you're miserable. When you could just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go spend 6 months doing this and see if I like it, because guess what? It's easier to get into a state school a year after you graduate and go apply than it is straight out of high school, because they only have X amount of seats. But by God, when you're 19 years old or you're 20 years old and you want to go to apply, now they've got extra seats and places for you to go start school. And you're more mature and you really have an idea of what you want to do. Why do we push kids to know what they want to do at 18 years old? They can barely figure out what they want to wear.
Would it be too far of a jump to say that as a successful founder and as a parent, you would discourage people from going to college? Is that too far of a jump?
No. It is a little far of a leap. It depends on the person. Mm-hmm. If you know what you want to do, I want to be an engineer, and you understand that, and you understand what it's going to take, and it's going to take you 6 years, and then you're going to have to work X amount of years under someone else to get your stamp, to do these things, go. Do it. If you want to be a doctor, if you want to be in the medical field, all of those things, if you know, by all means, go. But if you don't know, why spin your wheels doing that for the college experience? Because it's not what it used to be. I can learn more from YouTube University in 6 months than I can 4 years in a state school.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a huge difference between going to school and getting an education. Mm-hmm. And I'm always on the side of getting an education, and constantly.
So tell me really quick, a quick 1-sentence snippet about your company, because I have a follow-up question to your description of your business.
Who we are?
Mm-hmm.
So Practical Building Systems and Practical Metals. We are a twofold company. We manufacture pre-engineered buildings, commercial, industrial, warehouse, such as that. And on the metal side, we do architectural metals, standing seam roofing, concealed fastener wall panels, raw materials for that, those types of things.
Are you familiar with, hopefully I don't butcher his name, but are you familiar with Jensen Huang, NVIDIA CEO? Have you heard of him?
I'm familiar with NVIDIA. Mm-hmm. I recognize the name. I do not
one of the leaders in AI today, okay. And he publicly said this. I can't recall how long ago he said it, but he publicly said that AI is going to completely dominate white collar work, and that the future is going to belong to the people that are professional within certain trades. Mm-hmm. And what do you think about that? Is he right? Is he off base? Obviously, someone within your field would, I think, have a better sense of that.
I now, just over the last few months, have started using AI to improve the things that I do, to do them quicker. But absolutely, AI is not going to unclog my toilet. AI is not going to build a house. It may help us do it faster, but if we build any faster than what we're building, our buildings are no longer going to stand up. Mm. I mean, we're already pushing the envelope of how quickly things are constructed.
Mm-hmm, right.
AI will do a lot of things moving in white collar, in data, but it will not be able to build anything physical yet. We'll see how Elon does with his robots.
I don't know. I just saw some robots on the Flagrant podcast, so who knows?
Yeah.
It was doing pretty good.
There's also the 3D printing of modular homes and whatnot. I mean, but again,
somebody's got to run it.
Somebody's got to run it. How fast is that going to go up? Is it going to stand long term? There's a whole lot of variables that it could never just take your job,
Yeah.
Like it could for maybe. Never mind. I'm not even going to speak on the industries because people get offended. But
yeah. Everyone.
You can think of all the white collar industries that will get wiped out.
I discuss things with my attorney all the time. I'm like, hey, I need this document read. He's like, I need a week. And guess what? I can upload it and get.
Precisely. That's exactly how I was hinting at.
Somebody taught me how to use experts on chat. So I've got not one, but I have 10 attorneys in that field now giving me their opinion of what this is.
And then you get smart enough to do closed browser where you can put sensitive data in there. Like, I mean, we use AI for mergers and acquisitions to help us review and point out things that we should be aware of and double check our work and our numbers. We do it in a closed browser, so it's not public. It's all confidential, but it's an AI system built out for us specifically. And it has changed my life.
And the speed at which you can move.
Correct. The fast eat the slow. And that is exactly what I'm focused on.
Is that my 90-day long-term decision making that we were talking about earlier? Yeah,
I'm sure
absolutely.
it's reassuring to know that the industry that you and your son are building in is maybe AI proof is not the best words to use, but AI will enable you to continue to build a strong and steady business, all while jobs are getting wiped out. I mean, I used to work in the cybersecurity space, and the next month after I resigned from my job to go full time and build my business, I don't know what the percentage was, but I know at least half of my team was laid off.
Wow.
The next month. And recently, this past week or the week before, same company, actually all across the cybersecurity industry, layoffs, and across tech, layoffs. And I was just so thankful that I made the jump. Because that could have been me. Maybe I should have stayed so I could get a severance package. But either way, it didn't matter because I made the jump into my own business. And that's a scary world to live in, to know that at any time, if you're in the wrong field, AI, once it develops enough, it's already come so far, could take your job away. But in your field, I doubt that'll happen even in our lifetime. I doubt it.
We can't be terrified of those things. We build relationships. We don't, there are a million projects out there that we could bid every day and we could put numbers on, but that's not our business model. Our business model is based on relationships. We build them, we nurture them, we do everything we can to serve our customers. We're an extension of them, because without them, we have nothing. So for us, one of the things that in our industry, electricians, plumbers, highway guys, these things are always going to require people. And even the parts that get taken over, that get sucked up by AI. And I mean, in the 90s, when computers started getting popular, everybody's job was going to be taken away by a computer. And guess what? We just all learned to use computers.
Yeah.
So I that doesn't worry me whatsoever. And we're going to use it to the most efficient method that we can, as long as we can. So, yeah.
We live in a world where, well, one, I just want to remind everyone of that robot movie. Was it iRobot?
iRobot.
Okay.
Will Smith.
Terrifying.
Amazing movie.
One of my favorites.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we live in a world now where AI is so prevalent, I think that's the right word, that people are craving human interaction, and also people are terrified of scams. Like, their scams are so high. If it looks too perfect or too polished and it doesn't feel human, people are questioning it. So being relational is what will set people apart, I think, moving forward. So in your industry and every industry, relational is like a huge thing that everyone needs to be focused on.
That's a great point. Yeah, because from episodes that I've seen you on and content that you've shared on your social media, I mean, you guys talk about relationships like you breathe oxygen. Like it's just kind of embedded in you. Tell me about that. When did you realize that in your industry, even though it's blue collar and even though it's a lot of knowledge with your hands and with your brain, you're still so relationally driven? When did you decide that, and how do you implement that?
Anytime someone is buying something, it's a relationship. People want to do business with people that they trust, that support them, that they can rely on. And it's been that way since well before I was born, since any of us existed. When you're transacting with another human being, that's just what it is. So it's no different in my industry or your industry in mergers and acquisitions. You are a data-driven and finance-driven, but how many people selling their entity are emotional about it?
Every single one of them.
Every one of them.
An unpaid therapist, if you will, is what I feel like. And when we close, it's a blessing.
Yes. When people sell their homes, forgive me, a home is a structure to me. Yes, the home, the building, the home, house that we raised our kids in, great memories, good memories. The last house that we had, great memories, good memories. I'm not attached to those. Mm-hmm. Again, spicy brain, the way mine is. But most people, those are very emotional things. And the funny part about that is they're very emotional about their home. Most people have no idea who bought their home. They've never talked to them. They've never discussed anything with them. They've never had anything with them. The last 3 homes that we have sold, I know who bought them. I still talk to them. I communicate with them regularly. And like that is some level of relationship. But these things that are emotional in these transactions, we kind of talked about it earlier. You can do one of 2 things. You can genuinely be emotional about it, or you can learn the skill set to support those people in the method that they need to be supported. For me, it's a skill set. It's taking care of people. My clients know my phone gets turned on at 5:30 in the morning, sometimes 5, and they can get in touch with me. Period. I don't turn my phone off until sometime around 7:30 or 8 at night when I'm ready to go to bed. But they know that they can get in touch with me. Our sales organization knows that's just a standard. That's a skill set. If your customers need to be in touch with you, be it text, be it phone call, they need to know what hours they can. And if you get a text after that, or, whenever, that's how it's handled. That's a skill set. It's not emotional for me, but to a lot of clients, it is emotional. I know I can count on Nate. I've got to wait until 8 a.m. for somebody to open this place over here, or it's a Friday night and I need this on a Saturday because I'm working, but my supplier is closed. Let me text Nate and see if he minds opening up and letting me get this Saturday morning. Mm-hmm. For me, those are skill sets. It's not emotion. For other people, it's viewed as emotion. Mm-hmm. So I hope that answers your question.
It does.
I think
it does, yeah. And you've obviously had a lot of personal development, and you've leaned into developing your skill sets and yourself. I think that's evident. But there was a point where, with a few businesses or a few endeavors, there was a cap, right? And
mm-hmm.
and the cap, what I believe from what you've shared, it has been you, and they haven't been, other businesses weren't successful because the buck kind of stopped with you, right? Tell me about maybe an instance and what that turning point was that allowed your current business to flourish because you changed.
I wanted to be everything to everyone. If I had a customer and they said, "Oh, I know you do this, but can you do this?" Yes, I can. Sure, I can. No, I can't, but I'll figure it out. The moment that I figured out, if I just stay in my lane, and we've made a career of, hey, I got a guy, right? But I always tried to monetize having a guy. Well, I'm a general contractor. You know what? I'll just have my guy come in and then I'll mark that up. And then But then you got to manage that guy. And if that guy does a bad job or something like that, then I'm dealing with that. When I learned to stay in my lane and also encourage others to stay in their lane, people that we work with, those things went away. When I tried to be everything to everyone and do it myself, I'll look up the author, but there's a book called, the name of the book is Who Not How. I'll think of the author or I'll look it up in a minute. Anyway, now for me, my job is to steer the ship. So when there's a task to be done, my first question is, who do I point in the right direction and get to do this? Not, how do I find the time to do this? How do I make this happen? How do I? So learning that shut down the me trying to do everything myself. It stopped me getting out of my lane. And now, hey, Nate, we need some concrete work done. Great. Call these 3 guys, interview them, decide who you want to use, but they're all 3 good. You figure out who you work with well. We've got a network of guys who are general contractors. We get phone calls all the time. Hey, we're going to build this warehouse and we'd like you guys to do it. And we're like, But we've got general contractors that we support, that support us. Interview these group of people. You decide who you want to work with and they'll buy our building. Roofing contractors, the roofing contractors are like real estate agents. Everybody knows 7.
Yeah.
But people are like, hey, I want this roof put on my house. Used to, I would go, oh, I can do that because I know all the crews that install. Why can't? No, I'll do it. Don't worry about it. Now, you know what? Call these guys. They'll take care of it. They're going to support me. They're going to buy my material. Even if it's not a metal roof, they may not buy it from me, but I'm supporting my guy. I'm giving their information to someone. I'm supporting their business. Gives them a reason to support mine. Learning to stay in my lane prevents failure. Getting out of my lane causes failure. I can't put my finger on it. I'm sure my wife told me 1,000 times.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
1,000 times.
1,001
a day for 10 years. Remember, men have to make mistakes on their
Yeah.
own.
We're a little slower. We're a little slower.
But for me, that was the key. Learning to stay in my lane. That put us on the trajectory to be successful where we're at.
That's
They
so
say
good.
they say the niches are in the riches are in the niches.
Absolutely.
The riches are in the niches. Frees up your time and you're an expert at what you're doing, so you have more time to be an expert at that and do
Absolutely.
it very well.
Yep.
So focusing on your niche and doubling down on that, I think practically and business wise, that makes sense. Was there anything that was limiting your business growth personally?
Money.
Amen.
Let's blame it all on it. No, but
Chance and I started this thing. I tell this story regularly too, because it's, the truth is stranger than fiction. The first major project that we sold, we were just going to be a sales group. We weren't going to manufacture. Chance and I were just going to go sell things, right? Make money, live life. One of the first projects that we sold was like $750,000 building. I didn't have the money to pay for it. And we went to our partner manufacturer and said, look, we quoted this building. We've got a markup in it. Can you take this contract, take this agreement, produce the building for the client, and then pay us a commission? And after a little discussion, the next question was, how many of these can you sell? So we became a sales organization. That's where we started. what really limited me was my knowledge. Here's an epiphany. I've attempted to run multiple businesses. What I never did was actually figure out the things that it took to do those things. I'm going to grind and I'm going to work hard and I'm going to go and I'm going to show up and I'm going to do it every day. But you know what's important? Financing. Mm-hmm. You know what's important to a business? Having the ability to make sure that payroll is there. I did another podcast that was specifically, we discussed those things and how entrepreneurs don't understand the limiting factors of things like lines of credit, or they get a line of credit because they've got, good personal credit or whatever, but they don't understand how to use it. Mm-hmm. And YouTube University and Nate Roberts on a treadmill. And I went to work and learned a lot of that most young and a lot of older entrepreneurs. I met with a banker last week and he asked me, he says, "Do you have a degree in finance?" And I said, "Well, if YouTube University has a degree, that's where I've learned what we're talking about." And he says, "You're running your business like a Fortune 500 company because we learned how to do things like the big boys. They don't really operate on a whole lot more money than we do. They just have access to it."
Did it create any sort of urgency knowing that your son took a big risk with you in starting the business? Did that put, a fire in you to want to succeed even more? Or I know the emotions thing is not necessarily somewhere we go to, but did it create any sense of urgency in you that maybe wouldn't have been there had your son not been in business with you?
No.
I find that hard to believe.
He's young.
That part.
He's young. That's when people are supposed to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, did it motivate me? Did it excite me? He started his first business at 12 years old, 10 years old, selling baseball equipment to pay for his baseball.
Yes.
We'll talk about that on another podcast. But no, it didn't create an urgency. I think we both just drove each other for that urgency to grow this thing. We came from nothing to $7.5 million in revenue last year and made a profit in our second full year in business, which I'm looking at the mergers and acquisitions because most companies, you do that kind of volume, there's no way that you're making money. And now, did we reinvest 99% of that money back into the business? Absolutely. Did we go buy a Ferrari and put it on, YouTube and do all of the things that everybody does when they're an entrepreneur? Absolutely not, because we want to build a business. Mm-hmm. We want to build an actual business, not an Instagram business. Mm-hmm. So, I hope that answers your question. It didn't put a sense of urgency, but man, I've never had a better business partner. Mm-hmm. So,
I was going to say, you guys have something special to have a father-son duo, knowing that you're both pulling each other, you're both driving each other. You can rely on each other. Mm-hmm. That's special. Most people don't have that, especially within their family. It's tough to find business partners that are not family that are good. But it's even tougher, I think. You've heard the rule: don't do business with friends or family. Mm-hmm. You literally get to build a successful business with your son, and I think that's a dream to me.
Absolutely,
100%.
Yeah,
I wish I had that. I love my dad and my mom, but we do not speak the same language. And a lot of times when I speak over their head, they're like, "That can't be true. If that was true, I'd know it." And I'm like, okay, well,
old people, right?
You guys like to save and go the Dave Ramsey route, and I like to take risks and make money. So
that's an entire podcast episode.
That's
right
a cuss word.
Yeah,
that's a cuss word.
Not if you're building a business.
Exactly.
Hey, if you want to get out of debt, great. Dave's a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
That method works. If you want to personally get out of debt, if you want to build a business, no, doesn't work.
Yeah.
Not
Gotta
if you want to
take
scale.
risk.
Completely agree with you. Last question here. To everyone else, and I loved what we were talking about beforehand, that, and it's funny, my wife kind of says the same thing. She's like, look, I just don't understand why people don't think the way I do. You know, it's almost frustrating, but then you come to realize and you think about it, you're like, okay, I'm hardwired different. I'm hardwired to think a certain way. And now I acknowledge not everyone thinks the same way that I do. And now I know that's okay. And now I know that's okay because I know how I operate. And you've mentioned before, you've developed a skill set to work with people to know how they operate, and you're able to build the bridge to create, you know, a successful dynamic. And I think that's awesome. But that took a lot of self-reflection, right? That took a lot of learning and experiencing to be able to come to that conclusion. You got a therapist, right? You did a lot of work, right? So you learned a lot along the way. And Dear Founder is all about helping people, helping the founder, the business owner, the entrepreneur, maybe save a few steps in their journey, maybe save a few hiccups along the way through our stories and through your story. You are the reason why we have Dear Founder. So what are some lessons or just takeaways that you would share as maybe just parting words from this particular episode to a founder who maybe is like you and just doesn't think the same way as other people?
This is an unpopular opinion, but I think it's gaining popularity. I'm good at several things. Matter of fact, I'm good at a lot of things, but I can't do everything. Gay Hendricks has got a book called The Big Leap, and it talks about operating in your sphere of excellence, where I want to be, I enjoy doing the work, and I want to show up and do that specific work, and I'm good at it, and it makes me money. Work on your strengths and improve how good you are at the things that you're already good at, and hire or partner for the things that you're not. I woke up on a Monday or Tuesday morning and I had $2 million worth of invoices to invoice. Months of invoices that we had sold product and I hadn't invoiced. I begged my wife, who does not wake up early normally. It was probably 6 a.m. and I'm like, I need help. I can't pay you. Like, we don't have the money. I can't put you on payroll. Can you help me? You know what Mindy loves to do? She loves to organize. Sometimes too much. She loves to organize. She loves to make those things happen. And that is part of her sphere of excellence. Now she runs our office, day in, day out operations. As far as that side of it, the office operations. Right now, I'm really good at sales, but I can't steer the ship and sell everything. I've got to steer the ship, and I'm good at that too. So I'm hiring someone who is an A+ player in his field to do sales. And when I hire him, it will be him 100%. That is his job. I will get better at what I do steering the ship and what my sphere of excellence is, and I will empower him to do what's his sphere of excellence is and support the company. I heard it my whole life. Work on your weaknesses. Work on your weaknesses. Bull. Work on your strengths and hire or partner for your weaknesses.
Yeah.
That's the biggest piece of advice that I can give anyone, because founders are different. We are not wired the same because we are risk averse. We always believe things are going to work out. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. But if you have people that are in the boat rowing with you with the same, in our case, it's kind of my vision now. And everyone's job is to make the vision happen. I don't do paperwork. I'm horrible at it. I don't enjoy it. It costs me money if I'm doing paperwork, so I don't do it. I do go to meetings. I do talk to people. I have conversations. I set up contractors so that my sales team can support them and go get them. It's unpopular, and we constantly tell our kids, work on the things that you're bad at. To an extent, you have to, but not in this realm. Mm-hmm. And when you have a vision, find somebody to help you implement it. Find somebody to help you make it happen, because very rarely are you going to be able to do it by yourself. And if you can find out what you're really good at, enjoy doing, and makes you money, stay right there and let someone else do everything else.
And don't let your ego get in the way. That stops you from being willing to delegate and partner and find the right people. Because we're founders, we're entrepreneurs. We can do it better than everybody until we can't.
I think it's Dan Martell. 80% done by someone else is 100% cool. Mm-hmm. And nobody's going to do it to the level I am. But if I can get somebody to do it 80%, I can coach them up to 95, 98.
It's hard to let go of your lane. I feel like for me, it's easy to delegate the things I'm not good at. I'm quick to delegate that. I'm like, how much do I have to pay you? Cool. I just bought back this many hours. The things that I'm good at, that one day I'm going to have to step back from to be able to steer like you're talking about, that's what's hard to let go of. Replacing yourself with the things you're good at.
Yep. And that's where that ego comes in.
Yep.
And that was another Martell, buy back your time. But let those things go. And when you give them to someone, give them to them. Don't hire someone and then do their job. Mm-hmm. Let them do it. They love it. And encourage them to do it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we are wired different. We will always be wired different. And if you can express your vision and let others help you create it, man, it's a beautiful thing. And I'm getting to experience that for the first time in my life.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sure it's, I used that word earlier, but I'm sure this is a relief. Getting to experience that, a little bit of weight lifted, right?
It drives me, but I don't know. Is there relief? Because I'm going to get up at 4 a.m. and I'm going to go and I'm going to do it all over again tomorrow. So I don't know that relief.
Maybe a sense of pride.
Oh, absolutely. No. I am more proud of what we built than anything that I've ever touched, other than my children. Mm-hmm. I'm supposed to say that.
And a hot wife.
We'll make sure they say
I mean, I didn't build her. You know,
you chose her.
No, she chose me. That's a whole other podcast episode too.
That's 100%.
So
100% true.
But yeah, no, you are absolutely correct. This is the most pride that I've had in anything that I have attempted to build ever. And the fact that I'm like, that fits the earlier conversation. I am proud of what Chance and I have built here. I am proud of what our vision has come to be with everyone who has got in the boat and rowed. And I'm thankful for it.
I love that. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
You are the reason why we have this show.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course. Dear founders, I give you Nate Roberts, and we'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this episode of Dear Founder, click right here to watch another episode, or click right here to watch a clip from the podcast.